Anyhow, but with the conservative movement now belonging to the president, will the opposite happen, and will more Republicans fall in line? Joining me to discuss, Dana Perino, co-host of The Five and former White House press secretary. Yeah. CPAC has become so interesting over the years because for a while, I'd say the last 4 years, it has been very libertarian, but this year marks a dramatic shift. How has the winner already rewritten the rules?
Well, because he won.
Yeah.
There's that. I actually had a chance to go to CPAC for the first time last year, and one of the things I loved was the number of young people and the energy and the excitement. And that was when you still had, I think, 12 people in the primary.
Yes.
At that point. So, yes, of course, this is going to be different. I think Chuck Schumer, he could be right, but he also could be drastically wrong. If you look at some of these places where you'll have tough Senate or House races in the next midterm, it's just as likely that Republicans who maybe are traditional Republicans who are maybe uncomfortable with the trade status, perhaps.
Yeah.
But they might say, you know, I got to take the good with the bad because I love the Supreme Court nomination. I love what he's doing on energy and the environment. So, okay, fine, trade. Let me see if I can try to make it better. They're not necessarily going to walk away from him.
No, that's absolutely true, and you make a good point, and this is something that I have found curious because I don't think you'll find a lot of people who agree with this president on everything. You know, that's a low number of people, but for him that's not necessary because all he needs are a few big issues that resonate, and that's what they're focusing on at this year's CPAC. Rand Paul has always done very well there, especially in the straw polls. He's not even going this year. Right. Instead, you know, they're having several sort of nationalistic panels on things like immigration.
And immigration is one of those issues that's actually not that partisan.
Yeah.
If you look, it's actually a little bit more regional, and if you look at some of the statistics that are coming back when you ask Americans what they think about sanctuary cities, they're not for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and also when you see additional news stories about crimes that are happening by illegal immigrants who have been sent back and have returned to the country illegally several times, yeah, they get pretty sick of it. So I think on immigration, he'll probably have more support, even if it's quiet support.
Yeah.
And that will keep his numbers at a certain level so that he can get some other stuff done, possibly on the tax agenda. The hardest thing, I think, is going to be Obamacare.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to take away sugar from people.
Yeah.
And the sugar was given out for the last 7 years.
Okay, now on that note, and we talked about this a little bit last night, you know, obviously the two most important things that really carve out job security for Republicans in Congress, tax reform, as you're talking about, and repeal and replace ACA. You know, it is impossible almost to take back an entitlement. It's really only happened one time in the last 40 years. But if you replace it with something smart that saves people money, they still have that sweet taste in their mouth, is tax reform. And if people save money on their tax bill, is that enough to sweeten the deal and convince Republicans to move forward with both?
Yes, but it's extremely hard to explain.
Yeah.
And it's going to be demagogued to death. And so that's why I think President Trump has actually tried to signal to the Republicans on the Hill that you got to simplify this message. And he understands that better than anybody, and he can figure out a way to do it. But the other problem is, just from a technical standpoint, it's difficult for the House leadership to craft and draft an Obamacare replacement if they don't also understand what their tax base is going to be, because you have to have the pay-fors. So it's all interconnected.
They are inextricably linked, and that's one of the best points I've heard on the two of them and how they really are a pair of twinsies running through the meadow, and we'll see if they make it home in time for supper.
March is going to be very busy, so, you know, shore up your supplies. Make sure you have enough because you could be here.
I'll put some almond milk in the fridge. Dana, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you.